told your friend you're not okay? And tell me what's wrong and why you never said you felt that way. And guess you're trying to stay strong and fake a smile until I look away.
What the frickin' heck is up, everyone? So another day, another Nova video. I lost my little hand thing for the GoPro, so if I am looking a little funny right now holding it with my hand, is what it is. But so right now, you know, I cleaned up some of these edges and you know, cleaned up where I drilled out the spot welds. And one thing I'm gonna do is probably make a little patch for here, and it's real rusty down here, so I'll probably be making a patch for that area. And I don't know if I said, but I'm buying, or mini tubs are on their way. So, you know, definitely going to be quite a bit of work getting those in here. But what I'm going to work on now is, you know, fitting up this quarter panel, and also probably start working on getting this part of the drip rail off so the quarter panel goes on a little easier. Me and my dad were trying to fit it up earlier, and we were kind of struggling with it. I think I'm going to have to make a cut on this one. Just so it slides in here a little bit easier. But other than that, it looks like it's gonna fit pretty well. So I'm gonna get to it. Got some freaking bubble wrap on the ground, and I'll catch up with you guys in a little bit once I've made some headway. And I'll throw you on a time lapse for getting this area all cleaned up and some of the rust removed. Got this looking pretty freaking dialed in. So now I'm gonna put some, you know, acid on there to kind of etch the metal, and then I'll be spraying some epoxy over that once I kind of, you know, get all the edges cleaned up to make sure that this is nice and protected. And good news, pretty exciting, I got these mini tubs in here, or I got the mini tubs in, they got shipped or delivered or whatever you want to call it. And this is basically all the metal that I'll be putting on for the inner part. You know, obviously I have to put on the quarter panel, but this is all the stuff that goes underneath each quarter panel. So left-hand side, right-hand side, I'm pretty sure. So definitely monumental project getting this all together, but I'm gonna keep trucking on this thing. And probably next step after this is to make, you know, maybe a couple patches for these areas that are rusty, and you know, get this buttoned up where it kind of needs to be buttoned up, because I want it to be nice, you know, where it mates to. And also getting some paint on here will definitely be important, so it, you know, kind of lasts, and seam sealer in the areas that it had it. So back to work. Been doing quite a bit of moving this quarter panel around, and I got this door gap to fit really nicely. So you can see that's pretty much good. But you know, fitting these panels on here, it can feel like a compromise, because you can see this line is not perfect, and I've been trying to get this pushed in on the top side, but I can't seem to get it to slide in here very well. So it might be one of those things where you just kind of gotta live with it the way it is, you know. So I'm gonna keep playing with it, but obviously this door gap is probably the most important, and same with the trunk gap. So there is a little bit of space right here, and obviously I need to go grab the trunk and throw that on here and make sure all my gaps are good. So I don't have any of the inner sheet metal, you know, like the inner wheelhouse and the trunk drop-offs in here. But basically what my dad's been saying is it's all kind of set to the quarter panel, which does make sense, because obviously the quarter panel kind of sets everything up going inward. So once I get this set and I'm confident about it, I'll start throwing in the other panels. And I'm gonna keep working on this, and I'll see you guys in a few minutes. putting a little labor in on this Saturday. So drop the differential out of here. It's recommended that you take it out for these mini tubs, and I think it's going to make it a lot easier. And also, I'm not sure if this guy is an 8.2 inch differential. And for those of you that know, the ring gear is kind of, that's what it means, 8.2 inch ring gear diameter. So obviously this thing's going to make a lot of power, or I'm planning on it making a lot of power. So I want to get a good differential, and probably planning on not going with these leaf springs, because with mini tubs you'd have to get like offset shackles, and I don't think it's the right thing to do. So, you know, projects kind of evolve, I feel like, and this one's definitely evolving into a big one. But probably going to end up going with a 9 inch and some type of 4-link just to get it right. You know, do it once and do it right. That's what I'm all about. So I'm going to get this on the truck and take it down to the garage, get it out of the way, and probably plan on listing it and getting it out of the Bluebird space. So yeah, kind of a big step, and it's going to be nice to have it out of there. Got the differential out of here, so going to be selling that guy and putting a little money, you know, towards, or put the money away and put it towards like a 9 inch Ford or something that's going to, you know, handle a lot more power and be an overall better unit. So now I have a lot more room to work. So I'm going to get on, you know, starting to take this inner fender well out and getting the mini tub in this side. So going to be a lot of work, but got the rest of the day ahead of me. So I'll throw you guys on the time lapse and show you what I'm doing. All right, Anthony's recommendations on these mini tubs. So basically, I was reading through these instructions and I'm like, holy crap, this is crazy. I'm confused by this. And then sometimes I feel like if you just put the panel on there, then you can kind of wrap your mind around what needs to be done. So basically, you can see it's about 2 inches wider all the way around compared to the stock tub. So basically, you just need to push it in this way. It's the same profile in terms of, you know, this, but it just needs to go in 2 inches. And then you're gonna make a 3/4 inch flange that goes down. So you're gonna make a line at 2 inches and then another line at 1.25 inches, and that's your actual cut line. So cut it at 1.25 inches and then you bend it down, and that puts, you know, the actual flange at 2 inches, or the flange for the inner side, 2 inches inward. And then I can see you have to make a little notch in the frame, but it's basically based on the profile of the mini tub itself. So pretty simple for the most part, and I'm gonna get back to it. Got my tape lines laid out for, you know, the cut. So basically 2 inches in is where the flange is gonna go downward like this, and then 1.25 inches is where I'm actually gonna cut. So then you have about 3/4 inches of flange. So definitely kind of a process, and lots of metal off the car, but excited to start fitting up this mini tub. All right, multiply that time lapse by about 10. So, you know, did lots of cutting and got this thing kind of in here, and it's looking pretty good. Definitely got to cut a little bit more. You know, down in here, you can see it needs to be cut a little bit more. So basically following that tape line. And one thing I did do that, you know, other people might have an accident with as well is, or incorrect process on, is you don't make a flange here, you actually make a closeout panel that fills in the gap in between the frame rail and the trunk, because when you cut it off like that, there's basically a gap that is in between, you know, the stock trunk floor and the actual frame rail. So don't try and bend that guy down. You're actually just gonna go 2 inches on those ones, and then 1.25 inches for the flange down at the floor pan. So definitely had to cut it twice, and it's gonna go way smoother on the other side, but pretty stoked with how this is coming out. And you know, once I get this all fitted in here where I like it, then I'm gonna put outside wheelhouse on here and fit up that quarter panel to make sure everything is looking good. Same with the trunk drop off. And you know, obviously you wanna really make sure that everything's in the right spot before you finally weld it, but I'm feeling good about the progress so far. So I'll, you know, make the changes that I need to this guy, and then throw the wheelhouse on, and then we'll talk then. Initial mock-up is looking dialed. So pretty impressed with how all this stuff has come together. I was expecting a little more, you know, space in between these panels, but it looks pretty good. You know, definitely a little gap up there, but I think what needs to happen is I need to cut a little bit more of this area out to allow this to go inward, and then I think it'll roll outward up top and fit pretty much perfectly. So this, you know, notch that I made in the frame rail came out pretty good, maybe a little bit more cutting there, but definitely feel confident, you know, that all this is going to fit together. I got the trunk drop off in there as well, and everything comes together in this area pretty much excellently. And you know, I need to get this guy down in here a little bit more. It's not quite filling into the rocker that well, but I think it needs to be trimmed a little bit. So I'm going to work on that. And also the quarter panel needs to be trimmed in this area because, you know, this wheelhouse kind of takes up that space, and there's a flange that definitely interferes. So pretty stoked, and I'm gonna get back to it. And once I have this wheelhouse all dialed in here, then I think I can tag up with you guys and kind of give you an idea of what needs to be done once that thing's kind of finalized and set. Been using one of my favorite tools to cut out this closeout panel for the frame rail and the trunk sheet metal. So, you know, a plasma cutter definitely comes in handy when you're doing something like this, but I feel like a bandsaw would probably be even better tool, because I don't know, a plasma cutter, it does make some smoke and it's not quite as accurate as a bandsaw. I've been trying to cut down the amount of grit that I'm creating in here because it's definitely kind of gotten out of hand with how much grinding I've been doing in here. So yeah, I'm making the panel that basically goes in between this area. So I'll throw you guys on the time lapse and you guys can kind of see how that thing works. It's kind of cool. Freaking A, guys, this thing's looking good. So basically made the closeout panel that covers this area. I was thinking that it kind of overlapped the panel behind it, but you actually have to cut it out, and you also have to notch this frame rail. So definitely a ton of work, but kind of closing in on the end here, or at least for this side. So what I'm gonna do is, you know, straighten this out as best I can. Definitely fits really good. You saw I mocked it up, so confident that it's going to be in the right space or right spot. And I do have to shave a little bit on here, you know, to get this radius correct, because, you know, this is actually, if you look at this area right here, this is actually a part of the original inner wheelhouse, but, you know, the mini tub just butts up to the, you know, area in here. So I'm going to get this, my goal is to try and get this tacked in here tonight. So I definitely want to spray this with some, you know, weld through primer. So I'll kind of wire brush it and, you know, get it all prepared, get that guy tacked in here, and then maybe work a little bit on the outer wheelhouse, but got work tomorrow, so can't put too many hours into this thing, but pretty happy with the progress. Definitely excited to be done with, or closing in on the end of all this, you know, heavy fab work for one side. So thumbs up. Looking thicker than a goddamn bowl of oatmeal, you know what I'm saying? Sheesh. I will say that these Ryobi hand tools, they last forever. Like I've used this drill to wire brush, used it as a Dremel, used it as obviously a drill for drilling holes, and it's going strong. So shout out to Ryobi. Lots of holes drilled in that thing, so feeling good about this. Definitely a big milestone getting one of these mini tubs at least tacked in here and feeling confident about where it's sitting. So I'm gonna do one more test fit before I finalize all the welds on it, make sure all the sheet metal is lining up good before I really weld this thing in here and solidify it. And yeah, so that's basically the conclusion of this video. I'm pretty wiped out, gonna go to bed. Been working all day. So thanks for watching. Like and subscribe if you haven't already, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. Hey, thanks for stopping into the Bluebird Enterprises YouTube channel. If you like what you saw, give me a big thumbs up, and hopefully you're leaving with a bigger smile than you came in with.